Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. The last week or so has been a roller coaster, massive roller coaster beyond my wildest roller coaster dreams.
Oh my
But
God.
we'll talk about it. How are you? How are you recovering?
I'm doing okay. Every day my energy levels are rising, which is great. I'm still feeling like pretty low energy though, but I'm also just give myself the rest of this month to my focus is to just recuperate, not just from the surgery, but also from the last year because it was very intense and this is my downtime, recuperation time. So yeah, but everyday energy levels are rising, which is great.
Good.
Before we get into it, because I'm sure we'll get into the depths of all of it, let's spin a wheel. Love. How do you handle conflicts and disagreements with loved ones? Thoughts?
Funnily enough, a very relevant topic. That never happens on this podcast.
I swear to
Yeah.
God, I
No,
did
you wouldn't
not.
know about this either. But I literally about 5 minutes ago just got off a phone call with Savita, and we've been discussing the visa. And since she's been gone, things between us have been great as they were before she left, and very loved up in a weird long distance honeymoon phase. But every time the subject of the visa comes up, there's tension. And I think we both have very different ways of operating, with different ways of working, and we're clashing a little bit over it. She, for example, in our conversation just now, wanted to set a deadline for the next step of the 5th of February. And I was like, no, we can get it done in an hour. We can be done with it by this weekend. And she was like, she just didn't understand how we could possibly get it done that quickly and to a high standard. And so she wanted to give herself more time, and we were clashing over that because we just didn't understand. And I don't know if you can call it conflict, but it's a clash of understanding and a clash of the way that we do things. And I think it's really important to listen first and foremost. I'm a big preacher of communication, and communication is particularly important in a relationship. In any relationship, of course, but especially I think a romantic relationship. But I think listening is just as important. I guess it comes under the bracket of communication. But if I had taken a step back in the conversation that we just had and listened to her instead of trying to push my agenda of no, we need to get it done as quickly as possible so that we can get the visa done as quickly as possible, instead of having my own way of doing things and that's it, and trying to push my agenda on her, listen. And eventually we got to that point where we were both listening to each other and understanding each other. And there's no conflicts. There's no way that you can argue when you're both listening and both understanding each other. So I think listening is my ultimate answer to that.
Yeah, it's a good one and so necessary. Is interesting because I am not in a relationship right now, but when I was in one, there were ways that we handled disagreements that were healthy and ways that we didn't. And I feel like the most effective way is to not let things fester and to just bring them up. And I know I've been an advocate of the book Nonviolent Communication. If anyone hasn't read it, I love this book. But practicing that when you can and just being like, okay, I've observed this and it made me feel this way and it's not meeting this need for me. In the future, could we do this? And just understanding that it's you and them versus a problem, not you versus them. But a lot of times it's just addressing the thing head on, and instead of just like letting it fester, letting it sit under the surface, and then understanding that it's like not you versus them. Like it's not you're right, they're wrong. It's like you and them versus whatever challenge you guys are going up against. And I feel like that perspective shift really changes because you understand that like it's maybe winning is not important. Like at the end of the day, that's not the outcome you want. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Like you're going to be in a relationship, people are going to disagree, and it's a matter of like how you deal with that. But I guess it's
Yeah.
something that we saw in like my situationship is just address the problem head on if you're having a problem with somebody, as opposed to going to other people or letting it fester or letting it sit under the surface. Like, just address the thing. That's something I've been learning a lot. We could get into it more. I know you and I have talked about it, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Addressing the thing, I think, again, has been a major theme in my relationship, throughout the whole relationship, actually, is particularly on her side, addressing the thing and telling me that the way I'm doing things or the way I behave is not necessarily the way that she expects or the level that she would expect from her partner. And I think for such a long time, and again, this is a conversation we just had just now. For such a long time, I think an element of me resented her for it. And I think you saw that and we spoke about it. I was like, she's asking so much of me. And yes, a lot of it is necessary stuff, but I don't know if I can actually adhere to it. And so there was a lot of clashing over that because I didn't work with her on what she wanted and even try and meet her in the middle. And she never tried to meet me in the middle. But we got to a point last month, over the final month that she was in the UK, where we were meeting each other in the middle. And I was really doing my best to, in every single scenario in our relationship and when I was out, even when I'm not with her, think about what would she want in this situation and putting her needs and thoughts and feelings first. And it's put us in a position where we're the strongest we've ever been. And the last month was amazing before she left. And it's the same now. Things are really, really good because I actually said to her just now, I think I made her cry, unfortunately, but I didn't mean to. I said, in a weird way, I feel like she's my higher power these days
Mm,
because like I went for a run just now and there was something that I won't get into details, but there was something that I would usually get upset or angry about that happened to me while I was on my run with another person. And instead of getting angry about it, after 2 seconds of that negative emotion rising, I was like, what would Savita say in this situation? And she would say to be unbothered by it. There's no point in wasting your energy on this person because, they're not wasting their energy on you.
yeah,
And I moved on. And so in a weird way, she's become like my higher power in that regard, which is quite a nice
that's
thing.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it shows that you're with somebody who you can respect them so much and respect like how they live their lives so much that you're almost like you're inspired by them with how they live and how they show up in their day to day. And it just literally is an example of how it shows that she just makes you better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So yeah, that's again, it was a hot question, a very relevant question. But how are you? How's
I'm I'm doing okay. I'm doing
yeah?
okay. I've been so I had my surgery on Thursday and I've spent the last 5 days. Today's my first day back doing anything at all. Today's my first day back doing anything at all. So I spent the last 5 days. My mom told me to stop using this word, but rotting, which like in front of the TV. Like I've just been resting. I've been literally, when I tell you I binge watched, I think I did 5 different shows, like seasons of different shows. Literally that's all I did. Like I just watched a stupid amount of TV and just slept. That's all I did. Like I didn't even really talk to friends. Like people were texting me, but I wasn't really like on the phone with anybody, chatting like maybe here or there, but nothing
Mm.
crazy because I just haven't had a ton of energy to just kind of have conversation or just like chat with anybody. Yeah, it's been good, and I found myself yesterday. It's been good to rest and recover, like not just from surgery, but from the last year. I can't tell you the last time I took an afternoon off, let alone 5 days straight to just veg out, rest, recover. So that felt really good. But by the end, I was getting bored. I was like, okay, I'm like feeling kind of, ooh, what am I doing? But I get this cast off my face today. So as soon as I get the cast off, I can go for walks at least. Like, can't move my body much more than that for a while. But I think I would have been able to rest a lot longer if I was able to walk and be outside and be at the beach or whatever. So I think now, starting like today, tomorrow, I'll be able to go outside and at least move my body and walk and rest, recover that way, which always feels super good. So the rest of this month, though, I'm still prioritizing rest and recovery. So I'd say like terms of wheel of life, friends, family are great right now. I'd say physical health is not great, but that's just because I'm like, it's not great, but also great. It's not great because I'm not like, don't have a lot of energy and I'm recovering from surgery and everything, but great in the sense of I'm finally giving myself rest and downtime, and I haven't had that. But then I'm feeling career-wise, yesterday started coming up. I was just starting to feel like exceptionally self-critical yesterday about just self-doubt was creeping in. And I hadn't had this kind of self-doubt in a long time. Like I feel like when I've been thinking about these next career moves and career jumps, I've just been so excited about them and just not feeling any doubt about it. Like just being like, I know this is happening. I'm so excited. I know I'm on the edge of huge jumps in my career, both for my 9 to 5 and for my business. And just like yesterday, these thoughts in my head started creeping in of, is what I'm doing, I guess, quote, good enough to warrant these jumps, or actually has what I've been doing in both areas worthy of whatever, which I know these are just limiting beliefs and whatever, but I found myself into this very self-critical mode and like fear-based mode. And then I was also just having to tell myself and remind myself, like, you're literally resting and recovering right now. Like the whole point of the rest of this month is to just take downtime, chill out for a second. I've just been go nonstop for the last, I don't know how long, like yes, a year, but a little bit more than that if you think about it. Like I was go before. So to take rest, take downtime, like you don't need to think about all of these big things right now. I don't need to be hard on myself right now. And also, like, why would I be making these decisions, and why would I be in this reflection mode when I'm literally sitting inside watching the TV all day? I should be making these decisions when I'm in a better state, like just be outside, just moving, reflecting, like in a better state. Because obviously you're gonna feel shitty about yourself when you've been sitting on the couch for 5 days and doing literally nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm doing like okay. I'm excited to get this thing off my face, but I'm also still needing to remind myself that I'm still in rest mode. Even when I get the cast off my face, I'm still in rest mode. I'm still like easing back into work, but just, I hate to say doing the bare minimum, but I'm doing the bare minimum right now so that I can prioritize my rest and recovery. And like just trying to get my energy levels up to a 9 or like a 8 or 9 before February, where I can like jump in full force, like really going, like pushing, and I want to come up with a better word than pushing, but really like moving with inspired action diligently towards my goals, both of my 9 to 5 and in my business. But right now, yeah, I'm just feeling like mentally a little hard on myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which makes perfect sense. As you say, you've been doing nothing for a while, and naturally, when you're not moving your brain and not moving your body, your thoughts start to go into overdrive, I guess is a way of putting it, and you will fall into that kind of negative cycle of thinking. It's very, very natural. We've all been there before. I think a question that would probably help you, and I love this question over recent years, is are you doing the right thing? And there's so many different instances in that moment, in the conversation we've just had, or what you were just saying, where I was thinking about how that question could apply. So when you're lying there resting, doing nothing, in this moment, are you doing the right thing for you? Yes, you're doing the right thing because you're resting, and that's what you need right now. And it's something that not only do you need it for the recovery of your surgery, but because you haven't had a chance to do this in fuck knows how long, you need it and you deserve it. So yes, you are doing the right thing right now. But then on the flip side, are you doing the right thing by having this thought process? And you can nip it in the bud. Again, it's much easier said than done, of course, but you can nip it in the bud when you're thinking this way and you're going down that negative way of thinking of, am I doing enough? And then you have to think, by thinking this way, am I doing the right thing for myself? And again, the answer is ultimately no, because it's negative self-talk.
Yeah.
And I feel like that question gives you so much guidance as to where you should be directing your energy and where it's not even worth directing your energy. But I know it's much easier said than done. And so on the flip side of that, I think you need to couple that with gratitude exercises in times like these, about where you are in life, about what you've achieved, about what you're doing, about the work you're doing, because there is gratitude to be found in everything. right? And I think it really helps to give you a more positive mindset when you're struggling like that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that was something because I was chatting with my mom yesterday about my feelings around all of this. And I was like, I have to literally, and I was chatting with Mary too. And she's like, you did something that not a lot of people can or will do. Yes, you travel the entire world, but just talking about the work, like not even just the travel. She's like, you were ridiculously consistent with everything you did while your whole life was up in flames, while you were traveling from place to place without taking a break. Like you were super, super consistent. Like you built out this huge body of work, and everyone says, oh yeah, I want to make content and I want to do this and I want to do that. And they start for a while and they stop. You did not do that. Like you proved to yourself and to everyone else that like you have that you do the that you can do that. And I also think I think perseverance is rewarded as well in general. So if I focus on that, like everything I have done and everything I'm continuing to do, I'm like, I feel better about myself. I think I was just feeling hard on myself where I worked so hard and I've been working so hard. Like, why is it not further along yet?
Yeah, but it takes time and it's not a linear process. You have to keep going, and I know you're not a quitter. You're not that kind of person that's going to stop before it gets good because it's too hard or it's taking too long. But it's a process, and some people hit gold immediately, and some people it takes them longer and longer. And I refer you back to something I mentioned in a very old episode about this cartoon about the two diggers, and one of them
Yes.
is just about to hit the diamonds, and then he turns his back because he gave up and he was getting too frustrated because it took too long. And I feel like that's such a mantra, such a good way to live your life with that belief is I'm about to hit gold. Unless you're gambling, then
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 stop it.
yeah, don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's completely true. And it's not something I'm going to give up because I was thinking about it and I'm like, I've done this for free basically for 2.5 years at this point. I enjoy it so much. I will continue to do it regardless if it's, super successful or not. So it's not even like I'm going to stop. And I also think that perseverance is rewarded. And like you think that everyone who makes it big just makes it big immediately. That's not the case at all. You don't see the tremendous amounts of hard work and behind the scenes that go into making something great. And it's okay. Like, you just got to continue to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. We spoke about this briefly yesterday. I've just started my own sort of personal brand social media journey. And
Yeah.
for a long time, I've been studying influencers that I like and seeing what they do and what works for them and seeing which of their reels gets more views. And it's actually really hard because these people have got like 1 million followers. Some of them have got 300,000 followers, but they've all built their following. And so I'm studying these people and going, this clearly works for them and this works for them. But I'm not seeing what worked for them when they had 0 followers, when they were just starting out. I'm not seeing where
Yeah.
the journey started. And you don't see these people who are at the top, you don't see the work that they put in before that. And now it's much easier for them because they're on cruise control in a way,
Yeah.
because they've now built that following, they've put in that hard work in the first place. You don't see it.
Yeah.
And so it's really important not to compare yourself.
Yeah, completely, completely. And I think it's true. Like it's important for me not to compare myself at all. It's just tough sometimes. And I think it's laying on the couch when you're in that kind of physical state. Of course, like these thoughts are going to come because you're
Yeah.
literally doing nothing with your body and with your mind. So like
Especially,
obviously.
yeah, especially someone like you who's so used to hustling and grinding and just constantly doing shit. We've spoken about this so many times about your to-do list and never feeling like you're doing enough. So for someone who feels like they're never doing enough to suddenly be doing nothing for
Yeah.
days,
Yeah.
it's going to have an impact on you. But it's also, I think, a really important time for you to overcome that.
Yeah, to just rest and be like, it's literally okay. And like these
Yeah.
thoughts are natural and normal. These questioning, like these thoughts and feelings are normal and that's okay. It's just like, as long as I'm not acting from that place, as long as I'm not making decisions from that place,
Mm.
I think it's okay. It's just like also knowing that it's like how to shut the mind off when it's not doing that. And also it's I don't need to be thinking about this right now. I need to be focusing on my rest, recovery, like just getting my energy levels up, like preparing the body and the mind for this next chapter. Just being here and like really focusing on rest and recovery and rejuvenation that I just haven't had in a long time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And as I've said a few times, you deserve it. And I think you really need to give yourself that headspace and be present with that you deserve this. And
Yeah.
you've worked so hard to have these days off and to have the surgery that you've had. You've wanted this for so long. You've worked so hard to get to this point. So revel in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like watching TV for 3, 4 days, 3, 4, 5 days at a time. And I was just like, day 4, I started to get a little bored of it, but I was like, just enjoy it. Just sit and enjoy like the nothingness. Like just, and
Yeah.
I knew I was going to do it. I scheduled in the time. Like I scheduled in the time to sit and like literally just let my brain shut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I thought about this recently because I've been ill a few times recently. And as a kid, I fucking loved a sick day. I loved having a day off and just sitting on the sofa and watching trash TV all day.
Yeah.
And then you grow older and you get to where we are now, and I can't even take a day. Like I have one sick day and it drives me insane. And by the end of the day of watching TV and YouTube and doing nothing, I just feel depressed. Like I feel completely like my brain has just rotted away for a day.
Yeah.
So it's funny how was interesting how there are people who just don't work and they do just spend their entire lives doing that. The development from being a kid and loving that stuff to becoming an adult and actually craving work is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's the whole craving, but also that could just be the type of people we are. I know there's a lot of people who every night they go, they clock in, they clock out, they go home and they just sit and do nothing. And they enjoy that. And I think it goes back to that whole if you're not growing, you're dying thing. If you don't feel like you're progressing towards something or moving towards something, you just feel like you're wasting away or like that's at least how I feel. But I think you and I might be a specific type of breed of person that feels that way. Because I know there's a lot of people who don't feel that way where they just enjoy that and like work so that they can do that.
Yeah, yeah. I know people who do that, but yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm
Me
sure you
either.
don't either. Yeah,
I don't get it either.
I even like today, not. I'm fairly busy at the moment. I'm keeping myself busy with Savita being gone, but like tonight, I don't have plans, and it's the only day this week that I don't have plans in an evening, and I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm like, I can do some work on the podcast. I can do some work on my own thing, but I'm not going to want to spend all evening doing that. But then I also don't want to spend all evening watching movies or YouTube or TV because that's just going to make me feel like shit by the time I go to bed. So yeah, I just don't get it. Don't get it personally.
What's been happening with you? Because you said roller coaster, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's going on?
So we didn't record last week at all, did we? Because
No.
you had your surgery Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. On Monday, I had a meeting with my boss and HR, and I got some shitty news basically delivered me in the form of a script. Like there was no human aspect to it. It was just, this is how it is. And every answer was rehearsed, and it was depressing. Basically, that I can't work from India and that they won't give me even 6 weeks unpaid. It was basically 2 weeks or nothing. And I was gutted. Like I was really devastated. And I came into that meeting. I had hopes that they were going to be able to do something for me. But yeah, really, really disappointing. And we've spoken already about how I came into this year with one of the themes of my year. I wanted to be drastic action. And it feels like I'm being forced into it because I have to go to India for longer than 2 weeks. It's just not an option to go for 2 weeks. So I was devastated. Now, as a result, was trying to be positive that day, but I was feeling the stress build up and up and up, and it was just intense, like really intense. And by the evening, it was just overwhelming. So I picked myself up and I went to the gym to burn off some energy. And as I was lifting weights, I slipped a disc, which is the third time in the last year that I've slipped the same disc because I just haven't done physio or anything for it. So it keeps slipping. But a slip disc is agonizing. Like I couldn't sleep that night. It was horrific. I didn't do any work the next day because I was just so upset and stressed and I couldn't move my neck and it was a disaster. And I was just feeling like shit. So I was like, I'm feeling like shit, so I'm going to eat like shit. So I then went to my local kebab shop and I bought a kebab and I got the most horrendous food poisoning I've ever had. I was vomiting all night. It was horrific. So again, 2 nights in a row, I didn't sleep. I had a slip disc. I had food poisoning. Wednesday, I was sick all day, and then seemed to recover on come Thursday. But then by Thursday, there were the after effects of the food poisoning. The slip disc was still there, and I was just feeling this unbelievable, like I've never felt before, this overwhelming feeling of stress. Like it felt like it was consuming every cell, every inch of my body. And I started to question whether the food poisoning, the intensity of it, and the slip disc, whether this was all down to just this stress and it's taking its impact on my body. So the next few days passed and I was just miserable. I was not doing good. I felt like my brain was paralyzed, like I physically couldn't do anything mental. I couldn't do anything physical because I was sick and I was injured. Yeah, I spent pretty much the whole of last week in a really, really dire place, like really bad. And just not knowing what to do because I was like, how do I get out of this? It felt like I was experiencing a pretty extreme mental breakdown. And just to, I guess, go into a bit more depth, I think the stress was coming from not the fact that I was going to have to potentially go for 2 weeks to India, but it was about, right, I don't see staying at this job as an option anymore. So moving forward, what do I do? Like, I have to quit my job. I'd made the decision to quit my job come April, which is when I'm going to India. So yeah, what do I do? Like, I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna have to make a side hustle work out. I'm gonna have to make sure that the podcast or my own thing or whatever it ends up being becomes monetized in the next couple of months, or at least looks like it's on that path in the next couple of months. I am gonna have to find a new job, and if all else fails, come June, by the time I'm back in London from India, I'll have to go back to my old job. And I had a sort of tentative conversations. I put the feelers out and they did say that they would basically have a conversation with me if I was interested in coming back. So that's a last resort and it is there as an option. But I was like, I don't want that. I fucking hated that job. I was desperate to get out of that job. But I have no option but to leave this job. So what do I do? And I was just like, I think it was all the negative consequences and negative outcomes were going through my head. But then I had a long conversation with my mum on Sunday, and she was saying, it's not that bad. If you go to India and you work on your businesses and you apply for jobs, and if nothing works out by the time you go back to your old job. Yes, you hated it, but you're not going back forever. You're going back until you can actually get something that's going to be making you money or something that you're going to enjoy more. And I just hadn't thought of it that way. I think I've become so paralyzed in my mind that I was just finding it impossible to think in any positive manner. So I started thinking like that, and that evening I went home from my mum's and I was really sick, like I was vomiting again. Not food poisoning, it was probably the after effects of food poisoning still. But I just felt better. I had a more positive kind of view on the whole situation. I woke up the next morning feeling completely fine, no illness, And obviously this was yesterday now, which was my 4 year clean celebration, 4 years since my last bet. And I just woke up feeling really light and really, I wanted to approach the day very slowly with gratitude, and I wanted to just revel in my not gambling. So yesterday was really nice. I felt great, and I just meditated for a lot of the day. I attended a Gamblers Anonymous meeting for the first time in a long time, and that felt really nice. I just felt good, and I've carried that into today, and I feel much more positive about the future. And I keep telling myself that it's not that bad. It's not that deep, and I'm going to be leaving this job regardless. It looks like at this point, come April. But actually, the other options are not that bad, and it's true. I'm 29. Yeah, I'm 30 in 7 months or so, but I'm still really young. I'm really, really young, and so me having to go back to my old job, if it comes to that, which I don't want it to, I'm going to do everything I can to not make that happen. For me, that happening is it's a temporary thing, and I've got so much time still to actually figure it out, and to actually, maybe I'd end up being at that job for another 6 months, and then I'd be in a position where I could leave and do something else. I'm feeling much better, much lighter. I've again spent a lot of the last couple of days meditating, practicing gratitude where I can, so I feel much better. So you've caught me at a good time. If you caught me literally a couple of days ago, it was not a pretty sight.
That is like a true roller coaster. That
Yeah.
is like a true low of low, high of high
Mhm.
kind of roller coaster. And yeah, because I remember we were voice messaging back and forth last week, and you were telling me about the news and everything. And it sounds like everything just hit you at once. Like all of it just hit you at once with your health and with your career and with everything. It just all piled on, and then it just gave out from under you basically. And then to watch you go from low of low to high of high is really cool to watch that like flip and turn around. And like now you sound like you're in a really calm, good headspace about everything. And you're right, like nothing is forever. Like at the end of the day, yeah, we could put all this pressure on ourselves about career. We could put all this pressure on ourselves about everything that's happening in our lives. But at the end of the day, everything's always changing, and nothing is that serious. Like even if something is shitty, it's gonna pass. Even if something is good, it's gonna pass. That's just the nature of life. And you sound like you're in a great headspace right now with everything. I'd say so. This shift happened like yesterday with
Yeah, I would say the mental shift happened, I guess, kind of Sunday night. And then I went home and vomited some more. And it felt, honestly, I feel very holistically about all of these things. And I try and see the meaning behind even things like vomit. And I feel like I had made this mental shift. And I went home, and it feels like I purged out all that remaining negative energy, negative emotion. And
yeah.
literally, I went to bed feeling just defeated, like so weak from all the sickness. But I woke up the next day feeling the lightest that I've felt, I think, in since I can remember, honestly. I
Wow.
felt so just happy and loving and just so grateful for everything. And actually, I woke up and Savita had got me some cards, which were like meditation cards. And I opened it up, and the first card that came out was about practicing gratitude.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think this is the shift that I need to make. I think and this is why I was saying it to you just now, because this is a big shift for me this week, is about practicing gratitude. I think it's so important when I'm going through a situation like what I am at the moment, with my partner moving to a different continent with a crazy, really like inconvenient time difference, with my job up in arms, and I don't know what the future of my career looks like. There's so much uncertainty in my life right now.
Yeah.
I've gone from a life of real certainty even a month ago to just so much uncertainty. I think it's so important to lean into gratitude. And funnily enough, the first 7 cards that she got me were all gratitude focused.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I need to really, really focus on practicing gratitude for 7 days, for the next week, every day
Yeah.
this week, just make it a real focus for me. And I already feel it. I think it's just, you just feel good. It just makes you feel, it makes everything feel lighter and more positive.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. Wow, it's like very refreshing to hear you in this headspace, especially considering the fact that, yeah, your life is super uncertain and everything is like up in the air right now. But it's also a really beautiful place to be in when your whole life is uncertain because it gives you the opportunity to create any life that you want, and to go in any direction you want. Like it reminds me of where I was a little bit, not like so different situations, but like where I was during my breakup, where it's like I could literally go anywhere, do anything, be anyone, be with anyone. Like I can do anything. And you're in this situation right now with so much uncertainty. It's scary, but it also gives you the opportunity to create whatever you want in your life, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. One way I've been looking at the whole situation with Savita being gone is, and I think I've spoken about this with you before, possibly on here, that she's gone for maybe 6 months, maybe more, maybe less, but we're going to be apart for a few months. And I think this is the universe telling us both that this is the last opportunity we're going to have this kind of time by ourselves,
Yeah.
right? So Savita is the only chance that she's going to have, if there's a long-term future with us, which it looks like there is, that she's going to have to spend this prolonged period of time back home and with her family and her friends. And for me, it's, I think it took me a while to figure out what that alone time looked like for me, because it's not about finding myself or anything like that. I think, and I also don't think it's about reveling in being alone so that I can go out and just party all the time. I think these next few months look like I can really knuckle down and build something.
Yeah.
And I posted my first reel yesterday on my personal page. I've been posting fairly consistently on the podcast and trying to improve the quality of those as well. I've been trying to put, what's it called? Like the front cover,
Yeah, the cover.
the cover of the reels. I've been trying to do better with that and make it look cleaner. I've got this opportunity now to really learn from what I'm doing on the podcast and separately, and really build something over the next few months. And actually, I think I'm gonna, weirdly, like, it's day 2 that I've been posting on my personal page now,
Yeah.
and I've been following it really closely about the activity, and I think that's really unhealthy because it's almost like feels almost like an addiction. Like I'm constantly
Yeah.
checking and getting that hit when there's a, but I think what I need to be doing is maybe at the end of the day checking and seeing where we are, because I think it's important to check the analytics and see what's working and what's not, but celebrating the small wins. And I've set up 3 different pages. I've set up a YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and I've been getting 0 activity on the Instagram. But today I got my first like this afternoon, and it feels I should be celebrating that. I
Yeah.
should be celebrating the small wins to push me on and give me that motivation.
Yeah, big time. Absolutely big time. It's You absolutely should. It's not necessarily about the outcome. It's about the growth in pursuit of going towards the outcome, and it is about celebrating the small wins, and it is about, just progressing towards the goal. Like you're not going to jump to like 5 millions, like a million people. It's like little baby steps, and it's just the fact that you're doing anything at all is something to celebrate. Like even when you do something, it's something to celebrate. And that doesn't have to just be towards content creation or career. It could be everything. Like just making it to the gym, a win. Like just making sure that you're calling that friend, a win. Like doing the thing is a win. It doesn't have to be done perfectly. When the fuck does anyone do anything perfectly? Like the fact that you're doing something at all is a huge accomplishment, and it's something to celebrate because I think perseverance is rewarded, and you're never gonna get it perfect. It's better done than perfect, and it will perfect it over time.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. It's the small steps up the mountain,
yeah,
and that's not just about me making progress. Also about, it's about small wins. For
yeah,
me, I think I'm trying to live every day with the mindset of 0.01% better every day. So if
Yeah.
I'm just doing something every day to move myself forwards. Last week I was really sick, and so I felt quite limited in what I could do, but I applied for a job every day. And so that was moving me forwards, because if one of those jobs came to something, then it's putting me in the right direction. So moving myself forward 0.01% better every day, that's what I guess technically the small steps up the mountain means. But it is
Yeah.
also about the small wins. I've made a vow, just like with the podcast, what I'm trying to do with the podcast, about posting every day. And that's 0.01% better every day, because I'm putting it out there, I'm putting the energy out there. And the more you do something, the better you're going to become at it. Yeah, I'm on the right track, definitely.
You are. You are. And it's like a hike. And every time you give this mountain analogy, it reminds me of the hike, but it's like a fucking hike where it's, yeah, you're trying to get to the view at the top, but no one says, "Hey, I'm going to a viewpoint," unless you're going to a place where you don't have to hike. You say, "I'm going on a hike." The viewpoint is the thing that makes it is what makes it worth it at the end, but it's not necessarily about that. It's about the process of going on the hike and taking the steps and celebrating and stopping on the way for snacks and just hanging out and enjoying the way up and enjoying the way down, just as much as you're enjoying the viewpoint. The viewpoint's just there and you can enjoy it, but it's also about the process of going up and down as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm so excited that you're like starting to work on all of these things and starting to get into gear with everything, especially like me starting February to moving into the mode of getting everything ready to pitch this, because I'd love to, love to be able to pitch this under that umbrella as well. And especially if you're building your own personal brand as well, it's like much not easier sell, but it's a selling point for sure.
100%. Yeah, and that's, I think, a large motivation for me as well. We've spoken about that, and I think getting this right in the next few weeks is a big motivation. So it's interesting. And actually, speaking of which, because that's an angle with the podcast and about making the podcast work out, with my own personal thing, a big conversation I've been having is about the direction that could take in terms of
Yeah.
monetization down the line. And first of all, the podcast and the personal brand, they complement each other perfectly. They're exactly
Yeah.
the same kind of concept of personal development, self-help, that kind of vibe. But a conversation that keeps coming up, and I for a long time considered becoming a therapist, because I think I'm very good at talking to people, very good at giving advice. Throughout my whole life, I've been told that. And so for a long time, when I was feeling lost, I considered becoming a therapist. And I think again we've spoken about this, about with my background with addiction and what I've overcome and what I've learned and the methods I've used, there could really be something there to help people moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately my goal with what I'm doing with my own personal thing, is to just help people who are in a similar position to where I was, and help them get out of it ultimately. And I've had 3 different people close to me, off the back of me telling them about my personal Instagram, say that I should basically go into addiction coaching, and that's a really strong angle to go at it at, and that they think I'd be really good at it. And I actually met with my dad's partner, my dad's girlfriend, for dinner last night, and my dad, of course. And I told her about it, and she said that she has someone a good friend of hers, works very closely with a lot of therapists and coaches and life coaches, especially within the addiction space, and basically launches their career, basically gets them started and launches them with clients. So it's a really interesting path, and I feel like the universe, or even just me having conversations with people, are just throwing signs that this is the right path that I should be taking, and that I'm doing the right thing right now. So it feels good.
Yeah. I'm so excited. And it feels like very aligned too. And it's funny because it's like us having this conversation is obviously just like us shooting the shit, 2 best friends just like chatting every week and masterminding every week. But it's also the way that we both show up is also like how we show up within our own personal brands as well. Like mine's also we kind of align with like personal development. That's how we met, right? Like personal development, self-help, things like that. But I feel like lean a lot into the wellness aspect of it all, and I think we both lead into goal setting a lot. Oh, we also need to like chat it through, maybe not on this episode, but maybe on the next one. We got to chat through our like 2025, 2026, like recap,
Yeah,
like goals, stuff like that.
definitely. Yeah, no, we
Yeah.
need to do that. We need an
Yeah.
episode dedicated to that. So maybe the next time we talk or something.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Because I have feelings and thoughts around it as well. And it's something I'd like to mastermind as well. But you also show up with such a, like, it's your brand because it's like who you are. Like the background with the gambling addiction, like it's something we chat about a lot, and like how mental health plays a big factor in that, especially with the BPD. It's a huge factor in what we do and what we've been talking about. So it's interesting watching how everything kind of overlaps and works the way it's working.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. And you know me better than anyone, actually, in that I'm a talker and I have spoken about doing something like this for the longest time. Definitely for as long as we've been running the podcast, but for such a long time I've been talking about actually getting started, and I'm sure we've spoken quite a bit about the addiction angle and helping people. And speaking of goals for this year and our general wheel of life,
Yeah.
I for such a long time, for my whole life actually, I've never done a wheel with contribution on it.
Really?
Contribution has just never been a factor in my life, and it's not because I don't like contribution or I don't believe in it. It's
Yeah.
just not a part of my life. So it would consistently be like, it's not even that it's a one because it's bad, it just doesn't exist in my life.
Yeah.
And I came into this year thinking that needs to change, because it's such a beautiful thing to be able to contribute to society and to help people and give back to other people. But I'm not the kind of person that would enjoy. I've done things like basket brigades, and and I enjoy it, and it's very rewarding, and it's a really beautiful thing to do.
Yeah.
But for me, if it's not the kind of thing I would want to be doing every month or every week, and that's how I would see contribution showing up as a tangible scale on my wheel.
Right.
So what are other ways that I can contribute using the skills that I do have and the experience that I do have? So I've now started to implement contribution onto my wheel, the last few wheels that I've drawn, and it feels good. And
Yeah.
I've put it in my manifesto this year in terms of how I can contribute and what that looks like for me in order to get it to a 10. Yeah, and it feels good. And I'm not at that point yet where I'm necessarily helping anyone, but I'm putting the content out there that will hopefully reach people that it will help.
Exactly. Yeah. Like contribution, like yes, can be monetary and can be like donating your time and money towards a cause, like your classic volunteer work or your classic like donation or basket brigade or whatever. But it can also look like donating your energy and giving your energy to helping others. And like the fact that we haven't really approached it in the sense of, yeah, we're helping people. And maybe we do need to sit down and have some sort of strategy session about who is our market, who is the person that we're helping through this podcast, who is the listener, and how can we serve them and how could provide as much value as possible to them. But also just like for me personally with the meditations and that podcast as well, is I know who I'm serving and I know who I'm helping. And like sometimes it doesn't always feel like I'm coming from a place of contribution there, but at the end of the day, like I am giving something to them for free. And maybe it's just like the mindset and the attitude towards it of like coming from a contribution headspace as opposed to a growth from a personal like growth, like how can I grow this for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like rather than like how can I grow this for the listener, the audience, the person there, like how can I provide value for them. And maybe it's just like a sense of switching out the human needs there of what needs is it fulfilling and like how can you approach it from that headspace.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the way I'm trying to look at it. I think in the early days, at least for the first few months, this is not going to be something that I'm even going to consider monetizing. I've seen people who they set up their Instagram page, and from the first day, from 0 followers, they have a link to book an appointment with them. And I don't want that for multiple reasons, but I think the angle that I am genuinely coming at this from is I want to help people.
Yeah.
Yes, it'd be nice to monetize it down the line, because it's something that I would absolutely love doing. It's something that is very rewarding. But in the first instance, it genuinely is the reason I'm starting to do this, because I want to help people. And this is
Yeah.
my form of contribution, is helping people who are going through similar to what I've been through. And I don't want anyone to have to go through that, because it's fucking miserable.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, and I'm totally on the same page. It's a very exciting place to be in, and it's just okay approaching it from that intention, as opposed to just less of a selfish intention and more from a selfless intention. I think the energy really comes across there.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your cast, you say it comes off today, tomorrow?
Today, yeah. So it comes off later this afternoon after I finish work. I'm like doing my best to get through work, but I'm like a little bit slower today because of just
Yeah.
coming back, and I like can feel my energy levels are there, and I know I'll get through it all, but I'm just like taking it really slow and not putting myself in pressure to like get it all done right now. It's okay. Just take your time, and I think I'm gonna have a lot more energy once this comes off my face. I can like move, get outside, start to do that. Yeah, but in the meantime, I'm just like doing my best to just get through it, but not put any pressure on myself, not with no stress.
Right.
Like, okay, you'll get through it. Take your time. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important to do that. Definitely.
Yeah,
Do you have
exactly.
any, how do you feel about getting the cast off? And is it still?
I'll be swollen.
Yeah.
So like, I'm surprised I have no bruising, honestly. Like no black eyes. Like I have a little bit of swelling under my eyes, but like no black eyes, which is great because most people get like crazy black eyes. But yeah, so it comes off today, but I'll be swollen for a while. And he says it's going to take like a whole year to see final results, but over time the swelling will go down, and it's like a slow reintegration. People keep asking me like, how long's recovery? I'm like, full recovery is a year, but for the most part it's like pretty intense recovery for at least a couple weeks or months.
Okay.
With that being said, hopefully soon we'll be chatting through 2025 recaps, 2026 goals. Let's dedicate a whole episode to this because I think this is like one that we can dive into, and then we have a couple guests coming up too, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll catch you guys next week on Mastermind Moments.
Yeah. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.